biggest decision whoever comes into this thing will be, at the moment, the current one is obviously the TV deal, but the current one is the Salford situation.
I agree.
I think that is paramount to the game. I think it's the most hottest topic in the game. Because let me set a scene for you. And I'll try and do this. Forget about me being an agent. Please don't let anybody ever conflict me thing as being an agent. This is what I decided many years ago to do this show. So I thought there was no political or strong view on what was happening in the sport. I was willing to do that. I've had 15 chairmen on over the last 20 years, 15 years saying, why would you do that? Because it could affect you. Because they're going to look at you and go, oh, you said this about me, you said this. Well, hey, what? Fuck it. The same chairman will also said to me, oh, thanks for mentioning me this week. It's when they don't have it both sides. So I'll give you a little intro into what is it Salford or Salford?
Salford Red Devils, Craig.
So I'm sorry, and I don't mean that because it's my... Right. 10 years, maybe 20 years of the history of the club. It's got a strong history of rugby league. It's a great bedding for rugby league. There's been problems. Even the great Mr. Wilkinson.
Yeah, John Wilkinson, yeah.
He was a fantastic, probably the best chairman I ever met, the best gentleman I met when I was... I loved him. We played him in the Northern Rail final. We had a meal with him the night before. It was a lovely gentleman, and I can't think highly enough. When Carl Harrison were coached, they were absolutely buzzing, top 6 club. Listen, the last 8 to 9 years it's been run, and this is what a player's recently said to me. I'll try and quote it without telling you his name. He said, I'm not bothered about the recent situation. It's the same shit we've had for 6 or 7 years. We're getting used to it. We're hardened by it. We don't get too up. We don't get too down. Don't worry about it. It's what it is. And if that's where players are, when they've got their future on the line, and this is what this should be about, this segment should be about, people, and it happens in factories, it happens all over the world. This is a club who are close to being distinct. This is a club where 30 or 40 people are going to lose their living. On top of that, there's going to be 3,000 to 5,000 fans who are not going to have a team to watch unless they start again, and what happens. So the emotion around this situation is horrific. How did they get in this position? How did this happen over the last, when they've actually had success on the field? This is what hurts me, Mick. This is the one that, if I'm being honest, they've allowed them to go and it's been brilliant. We've watched them play in a grand final, we've watched them playing big games, finishing top 6. What, have we allowed this, and behind the scenes, these holes in the finances, but we've still allowed them to spend nearly the cap for the last 6 years. When is the madness going to stop? When was somebody going to say, no, because if we keep on spending that now, this is going to happen, so stop it now. Yeah, but we want successful fans. Yeah, you do. The fans would rather have a club. The fans will always rather have a club than hoping that somebody comes around that corner like a Marwan Kukash again. But look what happened with that. No offence to Marwan, look what happened with that. So what do? Do you look for somebody to come in? And it's like you're hanging on to a mountaintop and you're hoping that somebody's going to save you, but you carry on climbing up and you're getting further up, so your fall's bigger, but you're hoping that somebody pops around their head and go, I'm here, we're going to save you. That's what's happened. Shocking by the administration that no one's got in there and audited it quicker than we have and said, this has been going on for years, we've been giving you money up front for years, this was always going to happen. If you hire somebody to come into your business, Mick, sometimes they do it, and it can be accountants, and they go, forecast, nightmare. Somebody should have gone in there from RFL and give a forecast and said, they can't get till April. This could have been 3 years ago. They're not going to get to there. They're certainly not going into year 2. Do you get me? That, for me, has been a massive mistake, and people's lives are at stake. I had 3 players on. Paul Rowley's... I'm going to stick up for Paul Rowley. I'm sorry, this is going to be a thing. I totally disagree with what the Rugby League are doing. Paul got slaughtered for putting that squad out. That wasn't good enough, and they should have said that. It's disgusting that he did that to a Sky game, and he diluted the thing. Paul's first and foremost thing should be for the lads. He has to look at his squad and what's going off there in their heads to whether he can actually play them. Paul Rowley is not at cause for any of this. Not one bit. Don't hang it on a coach's head. They won't do it to another coach, so why are they hanging it on Rowley's head? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do.
He's not owner of the club. He's not in charge of anything to do with the club. He came out again on Sky the other day And he's saying whether he's a belief in the new owners can produce this money. So that's where he's going to be careful, because they'll hammer him. If these don't come winning out and Paul's going, hey, we're all in this, I'm positive we're going to get this money, and it don't happen, then Paul's going to, win it. But bottom line is, this is the administrations of the club for the last 7 or 8 years should have been called out. This is a position that's ended with it all, hasn't it? The RFL, as the governing body, was the person in the sport, Michael, for the last 6 or 7 years knew that this was going to happen?
Yes.
Everyone knew.
Everybody knew. The writing's been on the wall. Look at Andy Ackers, Brodie Croft, all the players that they've been selling.
Robert Louis could go back.
It's been a conveyor belt.
Tyler Dupree.
Unfortunately, the music stops. They can't sell anymore. Well, they could, to be fair. Mark Sneed, Lee were in, and all Callum Watkins, But look, you're right. You're right to criticise the Salford hierarchy, the administrators. I don't think they've ever really learned to be self-sufficient, sustainable.
No, criticise them.
Following Marwan Kukash's exit.
Yeah, I don't think it's their fault. I do believe it's the RFL's fault. I think they should have said, unless you get this in order, you're going to have to go into Championship.
Correct.
And you can't afford this Michelin star restaurant, my friend. You can only afford this. Get yourself in order, and then we will promote you back to the Golden Land. But at the moment, I'll be honest with you, you are not going to get past this. We've done. IMG have done an appraisal on all the clubs, and they put Salford with loads of points.
Absolutely.
Did they not look at the finances?
Exactly. Absolutely partial. And this is why the meeting on Wednesday. This is what I think will happen. They'll do the strategic review, and they'll sever ties with IMG. IMG take £500,000 a year. The IMG, along with the RFL, Craig, have been asleep at the wheel over this sorry mess, because I know from speaking to clubs during the IMG process where you're having to submit mountains, and we're talking mountains upon mountains of evidence, information, balance sheet, what your bars are taking, each individual bar, turnstile, everything. To get those IMG points, they've got the information. Somebody somewhere has been asleep at the wheel. A massive red flag should have come up. Well, this is not sustainable. We're allowing Salford to spend on the cap. They're only getting average crowds of 3,500. They don't own the ground. They don't get the bar sales.
And they haven't got an owner putting
They ain't got a Simon Moran. They ain't got a Derek Beaumont who can write a blank cheque for 120 grand every month. So someone's been asleep at the wheel. And there's a little bit in this.
I'm not blaming anybody. I won't allow anybody to blame the people who've been at that club for 10 years. Certainly the coaches, certainly they'll do what they think's right.
Look, you're right. It's not the coaches. It's not the players. Paul King does deserve to take blame a little bit.
Not for me.
No?
I think he's another scapegoat. If it's true that he put his house up.
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
Well, how can he be blamed? There's a bloke put his house up to save the club. I'd be the other way. I think it's the administration of the game should have protected them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, the boxer's having a go and he's getting chinned and it's round 9. Do you know what his trainer does as his friend? No more. White towel.
Yeah.
Someone should have come and said,
Salford, you are no longer a Super League club.
100%.
This is no longer viable. Take a step back. Rebuilding the Championship.
100%.
I agree.
And I feel sorry, but most of all for the fans, because I've said this for 5 years. Them fans, good fans, passionate fans, I think they offer a lot to rugby league. Your problem is they've been mismanaged at the top end and by the RFL. Again, I'm not blaming anybody individually. The RFL allowed all this to happen, the IMG, and I think that's the bit we've got to be honest with. I think it's been terrible.
Yeah.
And I think somebody should have jumped in and said what we said: white flag, Championship, build up again, build up your fan base. You've got a lovely stadium, you've got everything going for you. But at the moment, you're eating out at Le Crew in London, and it's about 1,000 a head, and you should be down at the Minerva, because that's what your budget is. I've got friends, Mick, haven't you? You've got friends who, I've been here this weekend. I goes, how can you afford that off? You know what I mean? And then at the end of the month, he goes, you can't borrow us a couple of hundred, can you? You go, well, you've been at better restaurants than me all week. You can't have it both ways, can you?
No.
My friend, I'm holidaying in Dubai. So brilliant. You've just gone and borrowed 20 grand to go to Dubai off your budget of 40 grand wages. It don't work out, Michael. Bottom line is, let's pray that They find somebody to give them the home truths, who comes in, who can manage that club in a better situation. What we can't have is this, and I thought about this, and I'd love to know your opinions. If they stopped them now, and people have said which club is potentially, my vote would be York. It always has been. I know you're not. That's a real personal thing for you, but I think
nothing's personal to me, Craig.
Well,
if I think where you're going, I don't think any club can replace them at this moment in time.
So that's the problem.
Season started.
They will have to keep this club going by hook or crook. Salford will have to be kept going now. If the investor money doesn't come, by the way, give them lads. The only problem I'm going to say this is we've got to give them a chance to put it in, even though they've missed 3 or 4 dates. We can't write them off yet because there's still people behind the scenes thinking this money's coming. Well, and I, you know, it'd be red light on it. It'd be
Craig. Look, I have heard off the record from the RFL. I've heard off the record. I've heard both sides. I've heard this money is coming. It's difficult to transfer international money. I've got a friend who is an accountant, and he deals with businesses worldwide who transfer money X, Y, and Z. I asked him, and I put him on it. Can you do a bit of research on this Salford situation, this debacle, this mess? They have to pay £770,000. We're led to believe the owners are based Samoa, New Zealand, Pacific, down, Australasia. That's where they're based. I said, realistically, please have a look what's been said. And he did. Credit. It's called Harvey. Credit to him. He's had a look, and he's had a look, and he says, I'm being honest, mate. He says 4 to 5 days maximum for you to transfer money and get it through that loophole and legislation, if it is clean money. That's what he said. If it is clean money, he says, if it's not clean money and they can't prove where this money's coming from, then it could take weeks, it could take months. So all I can go off that is,
I get it, but your problem is,
if they had the money and it was clean money, this mess at Salford wouldn't be happening. So there's something not right about this whole mess.
Right, we get that. Again, for the RFL to have adjudicated this, they must have thought they have got the money, because they've allowed this to happen.
I was told.
I don't think IMG get involved in that, but if they have, and they've seen behind the scenes this money's coming, well, they've done the right thing. What they will have to do, history will tell you, is they'll have to prove in a couple of weeks' time let me finish. They're going to have to prove what they saw. Somebody at the RFL's got to say, we did the due diligence on this company and we passed it.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing that I am hearing from multiple clubs, and I have not put this out yet. But we do this show, and like you said, Craig, you know, people saying to you, "Why'd you do this?" You know, chairman upset when you say something bad, but when you praise them, they're like, "Good boy." Same with me. I know that I've probably lost rugby league work or work at other avenues by doing this, but I believe, you know, by doing this, you know, we offer a very good, insightful perspective.
Bottom line is, there's still somebody should have done the due diligence. That has to be signed off by
the money should have been in the RFL bank account.
It should be signed off by a professional person, and it should have said, yes, I'm happy that money, they got the money. Let me tell you, when somebody were going to buy my company all them years ago, first thing my accountants did was checked whether they've got the brass, because they were going to spend a year before they bought me out. Yeah, we got through every revenue of what they had. I got the green light to allow them to come and talk to my staff and my customers. We didn't do that until we knew they'd got a few million in bin. Do you get me? This has been handled very unprofessional, in my opinion, again. And it won't be the first time that Rugby League have took a chance on something that they think, you know, God, this will save it. They have. I can tell you fame, you know, anyway, whatever, that's not... Yeah, so listen, bottom line is, if we end up and they come out, and all the players go, that means that everyone gets 2 points.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do it. There's not another way. They just go, right.
Or you just null and void everything and no one gets anything.
Then that means that each week a team's not going to play for a period of 2 weeks. So hopefully people listening understand that. That means that you'd miss a week, you play the week after. That means you're not committing to what you've signed for Sky to commit to all them games. We're going to be game short because there'll be a game a week short of what we've done the deal on. So make sure we all understand the enormity of what's going to go off.
Yeah.
pray to God we get the right deal and these people and Salford keeps in, the fans keep in, the players keep in, because if not, if we're not going to promote another club, the enormity of what could go off here could be massive.
It'll be similar to COVID, where games were called off, Sky lost out, Sky would be calling in and taking the money back, and then there's even less money.
You know it.
But I know where you were going to go.
And somebody behind the scenes might be saying that. Somebody might be saying, well, we've got to keep them going, because what could happen is that enormous. It's never happened in the Premier League. It's where a club's just been took out on all the points. They've got them through to end the year. Do you know what they'll do? It's like you have a bit of a trouble causer in nightclub and they don't want to do a scene. They get him out at end of night through back door. That's what they might do. They might think, get these through till end of year, and then they can just go. I'll be honest with you, Mick. If the investment money do come, pray to God it comes, and brilliant people, if you can do it. I hope you can shove it down everyone's face, say we got there, we got them the money, we've done it. If it isn't, the only thing we can do is prop this up. And I'm assuming that even if the other chairman get asked, would they be willing to put some in? This is what it'll come to. You know it. It'll come to, do you want to chip in X amount to keep Salford so they have to play the fixtures?
So you don't lose the Sky money?
You know it.
But then what we're already hearing is Salford would be, because of the financial, they would lose, well, they'd go from a B to a C. When you have these issues, you lose a grade. So they're not an A, they're a B. They'd probably be, they'll be in the Championship next year.
Yeah, but they'd all save face this year. Paul would be told to put a team out. Now, as I say, I pray that it all comes good and we shouldn't be in this position. A lot of questions should be asked how we've ended up in this position. A lot of people should be asked. But please don't blame individuals. When you're working for a club, whether you're CEO, whether Paul King put his house up as security because he wanted to take on the club to help it. Listen, I believe it's higher than that. We should take the blame fully. I think that has happened. So let's move on. Let's pray. We're hoping this week to get the answer about the RFL. We're hoping to get the answer on Salford. Let's hope they're both positive answers.
A very, very, very big week.